Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, July 26th. There should be noticeable improvement today in the Mid-Atlantic region following the heavy rains of the past several days, including in the overnight hours. Clouds this morning should give way to plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Certainly still can be an isolated shower or thunderstorm at any time today, but certainly nothing nearly as widespread as the last several days. That's not the end of the wet weather, however. We have a strong cool frontal system that will be approaching the Mid-Atlantic region later tomorrow. Very well could have a band of strong to severe thunderstorms just ahead of the front that could have an impact on the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City late in the day on Friday or early tomorrow night. Once that passes by, it looks like the weekend should turn out to be pretty decent with some sunshine on each day. But looking beyond that, the overall weather pattern looks quite familiar, quite wet for next week, with a broad flow of air coming out of the deep south again from the south to the north along the east coast, and there very well could be some more heavy rainfall in parts of the eastern U.S. next week, and we'll get into that over the next few minutes. First of all, this is the convective outlook by the NOAA's Storm Prediction Center for late tomorrow, for Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and it puts the I-95 corridor in the risk of a slight risk for a severe thunderstorm. Again, we have a strong cool front coming through late tomorrow night, and there can be a relatively narrow band of strong to severe thunderstorms just ahead of that front. Doesn't look like a heavy rain event except for the brief downpours associated with the thunderstorms. Nothing like the widespread heavy rain event of the past few days, but there can be some gusty winds, maybe some hail associated with a band of strong to severe thunderstorms. Again, we're talking late Friday afternoon into early Friday night. Well, let's walk through last night's forecast maps of the 500 millibar pattern using the ensemble run of the GFS at 6Z. A couple things I want to point out. First of all, this upper level feature right here over the Great Lakes is associated with that frontal system that will approach our region later tomorrow. Let's move forward here in 6-hour increments into Friday morning. And here we go. This wave in the upper part of the atmosphere will help contribute to some instability. Again, there can be a strong to perhaps severe thunderstorm late tomorrow, early tomorrow night associated with this cool frontal passage and this upper level wave of energy. That slides on by early Saturday morning. It stalls out just to the south and east of the D.C. metro region, down across southern Virginia, for example. It will be a little worrisome over the weekend. Generally, some sunshine each day. Cannot rule out a shower on either day over the weekend, especially in the D.C. metro region because of the proximity of that stalled out front, but certainly not a widespread rain event expected this upcoming weekend. Both days should feature some sunshine. But then as we move forward through the weekend, notice here a little bit of a trough starting to form here over the upper part of the Midwest by Sunday afternoon. And then as we get into the early part of next week, look at this deepening trough here over the Midwest and the central part of the nation, and that just slides in the east. Here we are by Tuesday afternoon, kind of a familiar look to the upper level pattern. Flow of air out of the Gulf of Mexico right towards the Mid-Atlantic region, kind of a Bermuda high setting up off the coast over the western part of the Atlantic. Combination of the trough to the west and the ridge to the east will push moist air from the deep south, the Gulf of Mexico, southwest Atlantic, right up along the Atlantic seaboard. The result very well could be another wet period, not only one day, but perhaps Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. There could be some rain in the eastern U.S. and the potential for some more heavy rainfall as well. Well, let's walk through the surface maps of the operational run of the GFS at 6Z. And here we are this morning here. A little bit of a front came through in the overnight hours associated with that low pressure system that formed along the coastline. Again, nothing more than a scattered shower or an isolated thunderstorm today. Some sunshine this afternoon. With that sunshine, temperatures will jump to higher levels compared to the last several days. The mid to upper 80s, not only this afternoon, but tomorrow afternoon as well. Here we are now by tomorrow morning, and we'll start off the day with some sunshine, but then that cool frontal system will form a band of showers and thunderstorms by late tomorrow. And some of those thunderstorms could be strong to severe, potential gusty winds, hail, and cloud to ground lightning as well. Again, a band associated with that frontal system that could produce brief downpours in the I-95 corridor at the end of the day tomorrow into early tomorrow night. And then it pretty much stalls out as it drives to the south and east of here, opening the door for a pretty decent weekend. Again, there can be a shower or two each day, especially over the Delmarva Peninsula, the southeastern part of Virginia, just in the southeast side of D.C., where that front tends to want to stall out here. And then we get into the pattern for next week. Here we are by late Sunday, and notice here by Sunday night, some moisture already starting to result in some rainfall, not only in Florida, but up along the Atlantic seaboard. That trough starting to slide into the Midwest here by the early part of next week. And here we go by Monday morning. Look at all this moisture starting to gather here down in the Gulf states. We have this upper level feature starting to take shape over the Midwest here by the early part of next week. And here we go. We have high pressure off the East Coast and a flow of air bringing moisture from the deep south, Florida, all the way up along the Atlantic seaboard for the first half of next week. Very similar look to what we've just gone through here that produced some heavy rainfall, certainly in the Mid-Atlantic region. A very moist, perhaps even a tropical look to the pattern setting up for next week. Not too different than what we have just gone through. Doesn't look quite as widespread or quite as severe, but nonetheless, the threat of showers and thunderstorms. This is now the forecast map for Wednesday. Looks like the threat of showers and thunderstorms will return on Monday and continue on Tuesday and Wednesday, perhaps even beyond that as well next week. So a lot going on in the world of weather. Some calm conditions today relative to the last few days, with noticeable improvement this afternoon. Some sunshine, warmer temperatures well up in the 80s. Then we have to watch the cool frontal passage late tomorrow, early tomorrow night. There can be a band of strong to severe thunderstorms associated with that. A decent weekend shaping up, not perfect, but decent. And then a wet pattern returns in the eastern U.S. for much of next week. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.